know. But man,
yeah, right.
watching your videos, you're amazing. Elisa has a few questions for you. There's a lot of moving parts. Trump's about to announce something. Elisa, take it away, please.
Okay, so welcome, Jess. You're part of the Fourcast today, so we're so happy to have you.
Hey, thank you.
So got a couple of things. We like to kind of make this just go very organic, very natural. But one of the things I think that we're all thinking about right now, right, obviously, is Trump put out a truth. It was all caps. It was right to the point. It was, tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is. What are your thoughts on that?
I hope he's going to pull out of NATO. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking for. That's what's going to save us all and put Europe back in their place. Because right now they're thinking they're going to drag us all into World War III. That's what they're over there trying to do.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that can throw Trump off the game of cleaning up our country here. We can either clean this country up or we can fight a war with Russia. We cannot do both. And they know that's their last hope, is to derail Trump, is to try. But it seems like what I'm seeing from Putin this morning, like, he knows damn well what's going on. Like, he ain't dumb. Like, he's even laughing at Europe. Like, I think he's smart enough that he is not going to, threaten anything of the UN troops. And like, what, Britain and Canada now have troops on the ground and they had to have that already keyed up, because like, what, in like 2 days somehow they already got troops like on the ground? Like, dude, you're 5,000 miles away. Like, that didn't just you didn't just like, oh, I just thought of this, like, no, they're playing some sneaky shit, but Trump's on it. And I don't think they realize that how awake the American people are to the scam that NATO is. NATO has not been a peacekeeping force. It's been an instigator of bullshit for at least the last 20 years, since the 90s. Yeah. So I hope he just jerks us off out of NATO and is like, what you guys got now? What are you going to do?
So this is his first time that he's getting in front of Congress, right? And so, it's probably, is this what would have normally been almost like a State of the Union, or, even though he's only been in for a couple of months, or is this just normal procedure after a couple of months? Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I don't know. I only thing I can
Trump. Is there normal procedure?
No.
No, thank goodness.
Not. Trump basically is going to he's the kind of guy that can figure it out on the fly. You know what I mean? He figures it out as he's going along, and he's going to know who's not playing fair on his team. He's going to start getting rid of a lot of people. You agree, Jesse?
I hope so, man. Like,
because
it's pretty obvious at this point,
right?
Pam Bondi, come on, either do it, either do something, or get out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's obvious that just because she's Attorney General, she's not in charge. Like, there are so many deep state people that, like, just because you give an order doesn't mean these people are going to follow it, and that's what we're seeing. So hopefully it's one of those things where, like, give an order, and if you don't follow, just start chopping heads right down the line until somebody follows the damn orders. Like, it should be that clear cut. Like, and you would think they would understand that. I really hope they do.
Do you think that maybe the list doesn't exist? That's why the list wasn't delivered?
What do you need from this list? I don't even know what documents I need to see. What are we really going to learn? Like, there's so much there already. They've got, if they destroyed Ghislaine's book, there's still all that photo evidence of, princes in and out and world leaders in and out of his New York apartment. Like, there is so much enough evidence there already. There has to be enough to at least start rolling some indictments out.
See, the thing is, though, Jess, I think what he's doing is that there are people's names that are on this, and he has certain legislative agendas, right? And I think they're holding back on this to put pressure on the people who are on the list. Like, if you vote for us on this tax cut, guess what? we're not going to release your name, or we'll redact it, until, as long as you cooperate, we'll redact it. But then that scenario makes a lot of sense. But then if that's the case, why did they make such a big deal out of releasing the list last Friday and then they didn't really do it? You know what I mean? It's like, so I feel like there's got to be some game that's being played behind the scenes, though.
Oh yeah, dude. I think there's. I mean, it's what if they have the list, they have tapes, they have evidence, and I mean, like, then if it's like, if you don't vote for this, I mean, we're just put out the list and just arrest them, and then it doesn't matter. They can't vote for anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and just replace them with somebody who's like, oh shit, like they're not fucking around over here. Like, we probably better.
That's the thing. There seems to be an overcommitment to maintaining the status quo, or to maintaining the illusion of the Matrix, right? It's like, oh, we can't, shock people that much. Well, why not? I mean, there does seem to be this commitment to keeping things as normal as possible. When shouldn't everybody be able to see that things are not normal? They haven't been normal for 10 years now.
But what seems obvious to us isn't obvious to everybody else.
Yeah, but I'm also confused because the flight logs were out. Okay, granted, it's in the places that we're looking. But, I mean, those have been around and they've been circulating for a while, right? Mm-hmm. So what else is that? I mean, anybody who is like us, okay, let's think about it. We're telling people, we're not just like, oh, wow, look, I saw this person and there's these 10 people and these 80 people. You're telling everybody. So even if people didn't agree or were like, no way, or that can't be, a year ago, 2 years ago, people are not the same as they were 2 years ago. Like, now they're going to start to buy whatever they're told because everything is so outrageous that we've been telling them. So I don't understand who else could be on this list. There's been stuff out there about the royals. There's been stuff out there about all the Hollywood people, politicians, Congress. Like, I don't understand what people are waiting for. Who could be so bad? Presidents, we've seen it. So I'm not even sure why. Just arrest these people. Just do it. Get on with it. I don't know what. And Mike, to your point, I don't believe that anybody's getting a deal on some of this stuff. I mean, if they arrest them, then, like Jess says, they're irrelevant to the process of due process of law, in terms of Congress.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to the Q post? No deals. If that's the case, why are we making deals with these people still, all this time afterwards? It just doesn't add up. A lot of what's going on doesn't add up.
It feels like we are approaching a moment where the dam is going to break and the regular people are going to be forced to be confronted with these realities. And like, I don't really know where that moment comes in, because once you rip that Band-Aid off of Epstein, I mean, that's going to lead to a whole lot of other worse things that are, child trafficking, organ harvesting, just straight up satanic rituals and murder and Pizzagate. I mean, it's all in that same envelope. So, like, do you have enough of your own people in place to keep control of the government if you end up having to arrest half the government? You know what I mean? And so, like, maybe they like were thinking about like, oh, it's this bad. And just like even Elon Musk, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, they've all said, like, they've been out there now and they're like, okay, you see how bad it is. Is it worse than you think it was? And they're all like, oh, it's way worse than we think it is. And I mean, like, we're seeing it's worse than we thought it was. Like, none of the left is organic. None of the worst things that have been happening all around the world, none of it's organic. It's all our stolen money. That, I mean, that essentially means the U.S. government has been funding all the worst shit all around the world. And it's like, okay, now define that worst shit. And it's like, a lot of people aren't ready for that. And like, people who are just like consumers of mainstream media, dude, that will mentally break some people. It's kind of like that Brookings report where they're saying we can't tell you about aliens because we think too many people are going to commit suicide. Well, what if we're right up against that same thing?
Oh, we are. I think we are, absolutely. But I think it's like at some point it has to, at some point the splinter has to come out, right? I'm sorry, it may hurt you a little bit if I have to use a razor blade to get this thing out of here, but it's got to come out, because if you don't, it's going to fester, it's going to get infected. It already has. We got to get it out. So I mean, there's every opportunity there has been in the last 8 years for people to absorb the truth, to face the truth, and to be ready and get on the side of righteousness and change. And if they're not going to do it, I think it's time to stop taking care of them. We need to move forward with the plan. We need to move forward with what it is we're trying to create here, which is obviously a much better world than the one we've been living in the last 2,000 years.
Amen. Yeah.
By the way, congratulations on breaking 100,000 on your X channel, brother. That's amazing. That's amazing.
He ain't talking to me. I know.
Oh, who's he talking to?
I'm talking to you, brother Jess.
I did?
Yeah, you just broke 100,000 today.
Seriously? Shows how much I pay attention, dude. I've been out driving tractors around and doing shit. I don't fucking even know, man.
What's
It's crazy.
Cool.
What's your handle on X? What's your handle?
Ellefson Jess, but just 3D printed Ford parts just to keep it easy so that everybody knows that's what I've been for. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we got a nice compilation of the best videos of the best pieces. We're going to glue them together for the Quantum Summit. For all you people who are interested in seeing, Jesse's not going to be there in person, at least not this time, but he's going to come through a live stream on Zoom, and we're going to put together a compilation of about 4 minutes of your best stuff glued together. And my editor is very, very good. You're going to be very impressed. And I'm sure that piece will probably go viral. We'll give that to you as soon as it becomes available. As a matter of fact, we'll probably release it right at the summit. What do you think? Do you think that Donald Trump is going to announce something that has to do with cryptocurrency tomorrow? I think that that's a possibility. He just made that big announcement where XRP, Solana, and ADA, which is Cardano, is now part of. It's going to be part of the Treasury. It's going to be part of a reserve system for the United States. It's a big announcement. It happened on Twitter and happened also on Truth Social. I think it might have to do something with that. I think he wants to really take credit for the wealth transfer that's going about to really bless a lot of people in the United States. Do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, dude, it's Trump, and we live in 2025. Like, what isn't on the table? Like, it could be he could tell us, I cut a deal with some aliens and they're bringing us some unobtainium. I'm not surprised. Like, everything is on the table.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. I have no idea what to expect every time. Did anybody see that Zelensky meeting coming? Like, where him and JD Vance just bitch slapped the hell out of him? I mean, like, that was so freaking wild, dude. Like, that's the greatest thing I have ever seen on mainstream TV. And if that didn't rock some of the sheep out of their slumber into what is going, I mean, that was so obvious that dude is just trying to kill everybody in Ukraine? Because who isn't grasping that, like, making Ukraine part of NATO is World War III? Who in the fuck is for World War III? I am so confused by this.
Well, I'll tell you who's in favor of it. Most of Europe, all of the unelected fake governments in Europe and Canada and the deep state and Democrats. Democrats are in favor of World War III. They're all down for it. So, I mean, it's like, that's the thing. You are
basically everybody who wouldn't have to fight, right? Is that what you're saying? Basically, anybody who doesn't have to fight.
Exactly. And I mean, it's really interesting because I mean, I wrote this book in 2010 and I called it The Choice. And I was like, what's going to happen is everything's going to get polarized in this next 10 or 15 year period. Everything's going to get polarized and you're going to have to take a side. And really what happened is forcing people to take a side. Am I really on I stand with Ukraine. So you really, what you hold them to is, well, then you're standing for World War III. Because if we don't stop this war, this ridiculous, pointless war, which is we all know it's just a money laundering scheme for the left. We don't stop it now. It's going to lead to World War III. It has to, right?
And
by the way, the first two world wars started in fucking Europe. So, can we all just get along, please, Europe?
No shit, right? Well, even Poland, I just saw a thing from Poland's prime minister saying they're all in on backing Ukraine. It's like, dude, Poland would be the first ones wiped off the map in this. Like,
yeah.
Do these people not know any history or what the field looks like now? I mean,
or geography. How about geography?
My God, dude!
Yeah.
Like, none of Europe stands a chance. And like, if we just stepped out of the way and we gave it, like every other world war, what did we let that go on for? Like a couple years, right? At least 2 years before we got into it. Europe wouldn't last 2 weeks without us. So like, I'm so confused by all the European. I couldn't believe the British Prime Minister saying we're gonna fight Russia, and I'm like, with what army, dude? With what army?
So what if this is all just a psyop? I hate to say that, but what if they all capitulated to him a long time ago, all of these no good people over there. And if you weren't paying attention, you didn't know it, you don't know it, you're looking at this. And what if this is just another example of how to show everyone how very corrupt, how very illogical, how all these people don't give a shit about human beings and what if it's just one more way to now take this on a global scale to say, these are the people that have been running the world. I tend to go a little bit more into that realm of what we see isn't always what's really going on, but it's just another one of those examples. Like when you said about Poland, like who would say that? Like, it's just not making sense. So if it's not making sense, chances are it's not real in some way. And these people are over a barrel and capitulated to Trump, and they're going to do what they say to keep this movie going.
I mean, that is totally what's happening. Like, irregardless if it's the plan or whatever, they're put up to it. I mean, I've gotten so many messages from the UK, like this morning when I woke up, that were like, they're terrified that Britain is going to drag them into nuclear war. And like, it's so funny. Like, I get messages literally like, what's Trump going to do? Can you message him? I'm like, what? Like, dude, I'm just some freaking dude on a farm, man. Like, I cannot talk to that man. Like, I do not have pull. But the people, they're honest to God scared to death. And like, so like you said, is this to wake people up? Well, that's what it's doing 100% all around the world.
And wasn't that the thing, that if you were really following all this for the last 4 or 5 years, that we're going to get to the brink of World War III? I mean, people have been talking about this for years. So maybe this is it. Trump's in office. He's going to stop it. He's going to be the one to, let everybody get to the point where they're scared to death. Like you're saying, it's sad. It's terrible. I mean, I'm not scared. I don't think you guys are scared. And then when it gets to that point, he's going to come in and maybe it wakes the rest of the people out of the slumber.
Yeah, it's called the Jesus moment.
Yes.
Come to Jesus. Yeah.
We'll see. But it's very interesting to really look at all the things that are going on right now. But, I got to say one thing about RFK. He is not living up to his promise. There are still chemtrails up in the sky, RFK. We got to get rid of the fucking chemtrails, dude.
I think it's going to take 6 months for them to get a handle on all of these departments. I mean, look at how not in control the FBI Kash Patel is, and how not in control the DOJ Bondi is. I mean, like, there was all kinds of those reports. They were open about it, the Democrats, where they're like, we're digging in and you're never going to root us out. And it's like, you make it pretty easy. You all put fucking flags up behind you. The shit. It's just like, I mean, you all got blue hair. How about we just start firing the blue haired people? That's a fucking good place to start.
That's a good place to start.
Blue hair people. I love that. I'm going to make t-shirts saying fire all the blue hair people. I could probably sell a lot of t-shirts.
I mean, and we haven't heard much of Tulsi, but she's cleaning house. She found all those people in their sex chats and whatnot on government servers, and they were all, and she just canned all them. That was like 150.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing, though, as people are pointing out, and I think correctly on Twitter X, they're firing people. Where are the prosecutions? Let's charge these people, because that's what's really going to get headlines is when you start arresting them, perp walking, CEOs out of the YouTube offices. When you perp walk the whole board out, for child trafficking or child porn, that'll get some people's attention. And you're not doing any of that stuff. You're just firing people. Well, firing's a good first step, but Jesus, it doesn't take 6 months to put a case together against these people, right? So just do it and start doing it. And I want to start seeing their side, like James Comey, get the Roger Stone treatment for a change. When is that going to happen, guys? It'll just look like, tit for tat. Well, okay, fine, because that's what it is. FAFO, right? Fuck around and find out. Let's get to the find out phase.
I can't remember who it was, but they said that once it's that Band-Aid rip moment, dude. And it's the first arrest is going to break the dam. And I can't remember who, somebody big, maybe Jeffrey Sachs, maybe somebody that was on Tucker. They said that like when that breaks, mass suicides, because you're talking about people who think themselves so above everything. They are unwilling to let go of power, let go of their house, let go of their possessions. And I mean, like, what does that start to look like then? And then what's the rest of the, general public? And it's like, CNN will be immediately spinning it like Trump killed all these people, and it's like, well, no, they hung themselves, but but there is going to be that moment. We are all standing on the cliff waiting for the people to start jumping over. And it's like, I think once it starts, it's going to go places that I don't think anybody really understands. And I even have some hesitations about like, what does that event look like? What if all the Democrats like snap and they refuse to just even go to work or something? I don't know. I think.
Well, didn't they have their day of economic violence or day of economic resistance on Friday? Anybody notice? I didn't notice. It's like it came to nothing. So they're limp right now. They'll all not go to work and nobody will get any Starbucks. Everybody's going to have to make their own coffee for the next 2 weeks. Great. You're fired. Thanks. We'll hire somebody who wants to work, who wants to get some money. Fine.
I know Victoria's got to have a couple of questions. Victoria, you've been so quiet there.
No, I'm just
enjoy the show.
I have a completely different perspective of everything because I see everything from a spiritual perspective. And, it's interesting when you talk about that first major arrest. I think about someone like Tom Hanks, who the entire planet thinks is practically walks on water. Except those of us that know, right?
Yeah.
But most of the people don't know that. He's the good guy from all these different things. And because he was at the top of that whole child crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Digging into it. And if he were publicly arrested, then everybody in his entire scope of Hollywood, they would all just lose it. Because if he goes down, they all go down. And they know that.
But how do we know a lot of these people? Like, remember, I went to get pizza last night and I saw on the screen, they had the Oscars on, and I didn't watch it and I haven't watched it for years. But everybody that was coming on, I was like, I thought he was dead. I thought she was dead. I thought that one was arrested. I thought that one was shot. Like, who knows? Like, I just find it very hard to believe. This is me. Maybe I'm naive and stupid. But I find it hard to believe that if there's different kinds of corruption, if you're corrupt and you're doing things with money, right, there's a place and a punishment for you. But if you're doing the kinds of things that were going on with the children, okay, that we won't start, talking about right now, I just don't think they were going to leave these people like, oh, okay, well, when we get to you, we get to you. I think they were going to take these people and remove them from the earth. And so
Earth, yeah.
I just part of the show, but the public would gain from Tom Hanks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
that's actually what I think happened a few years back, is that these biggest perpetrators were actually removed.
Yeah.
And there are actors or, taking those masks are incredibly effective.
They got masks that cost 60, 70 grand.
They needed to actually pull them out of the scene in order for this to start playing out. You have to pull them out or this would never stop.
Yeah.
And so I think that actually happened a few years ago, but for the sake of the public, they've just been allowed to, the appearance of them still being around, but I think they've been gone for, I don't know, 3, 4, however many years.
I'm totally ready though.
And the show is allowed to continue playing out until everyone who has blood on their hands has blood on their hands. So I don't know. I personally don't need to see public hangings and all of that, because what we're doing is we're trying to lift the consciousness of humanity. If suddenly there are people committing suicide everywhere and there's murders everywhere and there's death everywhere, that's going to lower the vibration of humanity. And so there might be some maybe announcements of some things, but I don't think and I don't desire to see any public hangings. I think that's going to lower the vibration of the planet. And it's exactly the opposite of what we're trying to do.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'd like to watch them, and I'd be sitting there going all Jeffrey Toobin while it was going on. Let me just tell you. Jess and Mel know what I'm talking about.
Well,
I think Victoria, I understand.
But that wishing the harm on another human being comes from hate.
They're demons. They're demons. I think you have to show
on the planet, and I don't personally subscribe to that. I
hear you, hon, but I think they have to show a little bit of that. They have to show us so that we know it's true.
They do have to show
us some.
They do have to, or maybe show some of the courtroom. I think showing the courtroom is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, the military tribunals, if in fact those are
a fantastic idea. The people need to actually see what they're really being tried for, and we need transparency. I wrote about that in my book Recreating Earth, that there will come a time when we have to have full transparency. Yeah. And that has to be that way, or people are going to blame Trump for the reason all these people die.
Right.
And somebody wants to know where you're from. You're from South Dakota. He's from South Dakota, guys. They're all dubbing you the man in the garage.
Yeah.
I'll take full responsibility for that one.
Great straight. Right. I drove through it once and just took my hands off the wheel, and the car just kept going straight. It's a flat, and not as flat as Montana, but it's pretty flat.
Montana's not flat.
Well, on I-90 it is. Let me tell you, it's pretty damn
only flat on the side that I'm from Montana, and it's very mountainy on the side I came from.
It's pretty on the Cascade side, or the Rocky.
So what do you think of these masks, Jess? These masks that are like so you can't tell who's behind the mask. These are masks that were talked about on Joe Rogan, on Patrick Bet-David, big podcasts, right? I'm talking about masks that cost tens of thousands of dollars. You can't tell who's behind the mask. What do you make of this? I mean, do you subscribe to this? Have you seen any of these masks like on videos like we have all? What do you make of it all?
We've seen them. Some of it's hysterical. They actually make the mask lines obvious.
Yeah, they do. And you see some of it, but you think, dude, the thing you try to grasp is like try to understand what you don't know. Because so you got Epstein and Diddy, right? That would indicate that there's even more that even we don't know about. And so, yeah, could there mass? I'm sure. I mean, of course, look at Biden. Biden didn't grow 8 inches in that one time. And then all of a sudden he's back to fucking 5'6" again, like 2 weeks later. Like, dude, so obviously, right? But it seems like they like come and go. It's super bizarre and you're like, what is the purpose of it?
Yeah. Seriously, how do people not notice that Joe Biden grew like 8 inches over a weekend? You know, it's like, how do they not see this crap? I like.
And then 2 weeks later, he's back to 5'6", and you're like,
when he's taking questions from the press and he's walking across the lawn at the White House and his foot disappears into the grass. I mean, it like just disappears, and then he reaches over the microphone and he goes right through the microphone, and it's like people are not noticing this shit. Really?
Dude, a lot of people. Do you know anybody that do any of you know? Like, I have my mother. My mother is so like CNN is the gospel to her, 100%. And like, I kind of try to gauge shit by that. Like, and I don't know that anything would ever break her from that because she spent her entire life in it.
Yes, here's what you do. You go in there and you get a remote when she's not looking, and you block CNN as one of her blocked channels, right? And then subscribe her to like, you know, all kinds of stuff like, I don't know, Newsmax and some other stations that are at least a little bit truthful. That way it's the only thing she can watch. So.
Yeah.
But you know, it's scary. I don't know too many people who watch CNN, but I know a lot of people who are Trump supporters that just go live and die by Fox.
Yeah.
And so they're on the right side, you know, of where seeing things, but they just see the Matrix just as strongly as anybody that's watching CNN. And, you know, they're just on a different side of the political aisle. You know, and by the way, I just wanted to say, Victoria, I 100% agree with what you're saying about the vibration, 150%. And maybe we don't need to see people hanging like some of us do, like Mike wants to see that.
No.
But we do need to see accountability, whatever form that comes in, whether it's a perp walk, whether it's a trial, whether it's something that says this person did this. We have found out, and now they're being punished for it. And people need to take off the rose-colored glasses about Hollywood and about these politicians and start seeing what's really there. And they've wanted to hurt us and kill us, and they were doing a pretty good job too.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree that we need to see the transparency in that. I think that we need to see the military tribunals, but I don't think we need to see the executions.
Well, we may not need the execution, but we need to get rid of these people because these people have created a vibration to keep us in a very low vibration. So we need them out of our balls. We need them out of our balls completely and entirely, and then the vibration is going to go up because they don't fucking exist anymore.
Well,
maybe she's right.
And death is really, really hard on the human heart.
By the way, real quick, I got to give a shout out.
Just make the execution part. Make it pay-per-view.
I got
live pay-per-view live stream.
Personally,
I'd pay $1 billion off the
money will go to charity. Yeah, let's do it that way. You know.
Yeah, quick
Put
shout
it
out
against
to
the national
Jersey
debt.
Patriot. Quick shout out to the Jersey Patriot. Thank you for coming to the Quantum Summit, buddy.
Who was that a shout out to?
The Jersey Patriot USA. He's coming to the Quantum Summit. He wants everybody to know that he's coming all the way from New Jersey to be in Cape Canaveral. Yay. Obviously, it's going to be like 75 degrees. You want to be there, believe me.
Yeah.
It's going to be gorgeous. But anyway, by the way, before I forget, virtual tickets are now on sale, okay? And also the tickets will be on sale until March 4th at midnight. At midnight, boom, no more tickets, okay? Because it's a catered event, and we got to order the food, and we got to give them a head count on Wednesday. That's it. And this is
I just put a link in the chat directly to the sign up for the live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
But that's tomorrow night, so people have to sign up now.
If I decide to have another crazy one of these things, Jesse, we got to figure out how to get you there in the flesh.
We'll see what we can do, buddy.
Do it in Vegas here. I'm sitting here in Vegas. I'm ready to do the legwork.
Ron.
You got to bring maybe he should bring Ron. It might be a crap. People will come to see Ron too.
I was talking to my wife about that earlier. Like I've got some other cows that are far more like docile. Like today he was jumping all over. Like he's a bull and like he's good with me, but like I wouldn't trust him with anybody else out in the pasture because he is still a bull and like he does get bullish. Yeah. So probably no public appearances for Ron. He's kind of a dick some days.
Absolutely. We got Carol Maureen coming all the way from Costa Rica. She's going to be one of our speakers. That's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you, Carol. And don't forget to bring me some of that cream. I got some spider bit my back. My back is like rotting away. I don't know what the hell's going on. Look, some guys had told her, hey, tell him to put some gasoline on it. He goes, I know it's crazy, but it works. I didn't do the gasoline, Maureen. I'm sorry.
Try some ivermectin too, just in case that might help. That sounds not good, Mel.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a lot of skin rashes are parasites.
Yeah.
Try it. Yeah, try it. Start dosing, man.
Well, I put some, what did I call that? Black sob, a black Indian sob, whatever. It's I don't know what it's called, but it's like this thing that's like, it will cure a lot of things. Even the one that starts with a C, ends with an R. Okay. Skin CR. Yeah. I can't say it too loudly because there's some people out here that think that they own the airwaves.
Yeah.
Fortunately. Yeah. How long do you think it's going to take for Donald Trump to sign the executive order so that he can allow everybody to grow unimpeded on social media? Jesse? Do you think he's got bigger fish to fry than that right now?
I mean, X is pretty freed up. I mean, Elon's been pretty open about that. You know,
X is, but we're still waiting on Facebook. We're still waiting on YouTube. Rumble is definitely compromised. I mean, TikTok, Instagram, they're all compromised.
I get no problems from Facebook or Instagram, but I lose TikTok accounts like they're fucking weekly.
Really?
Oh God, I'm about to lose my new one. It's only like 3 weeks old. Yeah, I'm like 5. I don't even know how they do it because I'm at like 5 strikes. What's the point of strikes? Like I thought it was 3 strikes and you're out. Now I'm at 5, and then it goes to 7, and then it whatever.
Well, what they do is even on Twitter X, you know, they just suppress you. They just shadow ban you. And you know, again, I mean, I see guys with like half the followers I have getting, and I'm not kidding, thousands of engagements on a simple tweet about nothing that's not even clever or funny. And I'm tweeting up there, and I'm lucky to get 20, 30 people looking at my stuff, 100. I mean, if I get 200 people engaged on a tweet, I'm doing really well. So it's all just shadow banning. You know, I guess in my case, based on how many times I say fuck or something, I don't know. But
I will tell you, it is clearly not shadow banning on how many times you say fuck. I have some videos that are like in a minute with 60, and they do 7-8 fucking million views. Yeah. So like, and like, I don't buy it on any of the words either, because I do not censor words. I'll say guns, I'll say rape, I'll say child trafficking, and that shit goes. I really think some of it is just the interaction from the people, and like what do they want to hear that day? You know, I think there is some zeitgeisty play to that. I don't know.
How about if we have an algorithm on social media where if you post something, everyone who follows you sees it? How about we just do that algorithm and then let the chips fall where they may? I'm fine with that. Right? That'd be nice.
Any more questions for Jess, guys? Yeah, you got to have some questions there, Elisa. I know you had a few You started out with Victoria. I don't know. You gave us your opinion on spirituality, but I want you to ask Jesse here some tough questions. You got any tough questions for Jess?
I don't really know Jesse.
Oh my God, the whole world knows Jess.
Yeah, I'm baffled by all the F-bombs and how many views he gets, and I feel like I've been shadow banned because I used to get thousands of views, and now I'm lucky if I get 30. And my channel's completely harmless. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I know that from my perspective, what's happening on the planet, because nothing that I talk about is ever related to just the United States. The Americans are awfully arrogant to think that they're the end all be all. So everything I do is for the entire planet and for all life on Earth. And the way that I see what's happening right now is that in order to create a new world, as everything in the universe follows the same pattern of creation, what exists dies, and then something else is born out of it. So I like to use the butterfly as a perfect example of what's happening right now. In order for the butterfly to become what it was always meant to be, what it was has to die. So we're in the chrysalis right now. The old reality is completely collapsing, and people are freaking out, not understanding that that is a normal part of creation. In order to become the world, so many people have been saying for the last, because the ascension started in the 1960s, have been saying for the last, since then, is that it's time for new earth, time for new earth, time for new earth. So many people have been saying that in both the religious and spiritual communities, that, and combining that, because our words create reality, our visions create reality, combining that with the star alignments that have been happening for the last 2, 3, 4 years, long before, I mean, in a way that they haven't happened in centuries. It's not just this week. It's been happening for a couple of years.
Yeah, since like 1776, we're in exactly the same time.
And
but because, yeah, and I mean, I wrote, again, that book I wrote, The Choice, I talked about it's spin energy, angular momentum that actually can change the functions of electromagnetic signals, which guess what? That's what every thought you have in your brain is. So I can prove astrology is real, and I can prove that it affects our consciousness, and here we are on the brink of this.
It's more than that. It's that there's the star alignments. There's all of the combined mental energy that's focused in creating a new reality. It's that we locked and loaded into the age of Aquarius a couple of years ago. It's that the Earth started her ascension process about 50 years ago. We're entering an entirely new circle around the galaxy. All of those are creating a perfect storm for what's happening right now. So when I see people freaking out about, oh, the whole world's falling apart, and in my book, Rise Up, I talk about this, all hell is breaking loose. Thank God. That means all hell is breaking loose from the planet. So let it. And so that's what's happening. So when I see everything, all the chaos and all the systems falling apart, it's like, fantastic. We've been talking about this for decades, and it's about time. So out of that chaos, we get to create an entirely new reality that we wouldn't be able to create unless all of this chaos were happening. So that's, for me, that's how I see all of it. I don't get into the political stuff. I don't get into any of that, because I see all of it from the spiritual, creative perspective. So
I think it has to do with the last 10%, the remaining assholes, the remaining stupid people on planet Earth, to wake up. You know, it's got to. The insanity has to reach critical mass. It has to.
Yeah. So I call it the mass awakening. We have to have a global catalyst event that causes that come to Jesus moment, that brings the rest of humanity to its knees and wakes the rest up, who on a soul level have agreed to have awakening. Yeah. And those that don't wake up on a soul level have, before they incarnated, or chose to not be part of the ascension process. It's not us to judge who is and isn't part of that process. Exactly. Only the soul knows the contract that they made with themselves. Yeah. So that's why it's up to us to create this container for the rest of humanity waking up. That's why there have been so many waves of awakening and waves of ascension. So that with each wave gets bigger, and we haven't had the tsunami yet. That's what's coming, is the tsunami of awakening. And we needed to have each wave that woke up and activated their spiritual awakening, then prepared the way for the next wave, and then prepared. So the Great Awakening that started in 2017 and hit mass in 2020 was a preparation for the tsunami that's coming next. And that's what's coming, and that's going to wake up the masses of humanity. And it's going to be beautiful. Transition experiences are not pleasant, right, Alyssa?
That's right.
Right? And those catalysts are really unpleasant. But when we understand that those catalyst moments exist to bring us to our knees and wake us up to a greater potential, then those of us that are awake and aware enough to know that when the rest of humanity hits that, we'll be in a position to be able to lovingly and gently help them through that process. Because the reason we woke up early, to help the rest when they wake up.
Jess, somebody wants to know, New Jersey Patriot USA in New Jersey wants to know, when did you start podcasting and making videos?
I started making videos probably like 3 years ago with just random content and ranting at my phone. But it wasn't until I think just only a year ago where I started spreading out to other platforms beyond TikTok. And then it was just not but like 2 months ago when I joined X. Yeah, and figured out how to make all that work.
You've been featured on Alex Jones a couple of times, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that costs me a social media account every time he shares a video. Within 12 hours, my accounts get deleted. Yeah, I'm like, fuck yeah, Alex Jones. And then I'm like, God damn it, Alex Jones, quit fucking doing that to me.
That's funny, but the popularity aspect of it all, because Alex Jones has an incredible reach. I mean, Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN combined don't have Alex Jones' reach.
Amen. No, it's an honor, dude. It's an honor. If I ever wanted to be on anybody's show, it's Alex Jones. I mean, that's what woke me up back in 2001, man. I
think I might know somebody that might be able to get you on with them. I'm going to share your contact information with them. Seriously, I'm trying to get out there too. Don't kid yourself. I mean, that'd be wild. I'm in the limelight. I might as well go all the way, right?
No, I'm not really used to, dude. I don't leave the farm much. Like going down to Nebraska. And it was like
do anything except to hang out with Ron on the farm, step in some fucking horse manure or some donkey shit, and people love this shit. You know what I mean? And just
you're just so natural, and I think most Americans are tired of the polished studio version of humanity that we've been taught is what we're supposed to listen to. And then, most of us are just average people. And it's nice to hear another average person who's making a living and trying to, get by with their family, etc. Just say it the way it is and don't edit or, what comes out of your mouth.
Nobody speaks to those people. Like somebody else was telling me the other day, oh, if you cleaned up your language, you could go mainstream. And I was like, I don't want to go fucking mainstream. Like that ain't what I'm trying to do. Like if people want to hear that, there's 8,000 motherfuckers out there doing that job. I'm not trying to do that job. Like I want to talk to the people that really haven't been paying attention. And like I didn't really start going harder on this. Really on the political and my views on that until I started getting some messages right before the election from a bunch of younger people who were like, dude, I've been following you for a couple years, like how you build shit. And I've always did slight underhands and talked shit about the government. Like that's from day one. But I never said the word Trump. But like right about October, I started it was that important. And and these younger guys started messaging me. They're like, you really opened my eyes to like a different way of thinking and like seeing this shit. And I was like, fuck, like now I get that put a little bit of pressure on me to be like, I need to continue that and explain these things. And like my wife describes it as like, I'm the Jordan Peterson that swears a lot. Like I take complex issues and then kind of translate them so that the blue collar working class that doesn't have time can understand and grasp what is going on and kind of translate the news, because everybody out there is always trying to use like bigger, we got to get into our vocabulary and I'm going to talk about how I'm so transcendent amongst the upper echelons of the elite society. And it's like, fuck them. They don't run this shit. We run this shit. Like it's our public opinion has so much power, and they do not want us to know that. And it's that 100 monkeys. You all know the 100 monkeys experiment, right? Like that washing the potatoes, and all of a sudden, once 100 monkeys knew to wash potatoes, now all of a sudden all the monkeys knew. And like that's that precipice that I think we're all walking towards, is like once that collective consciousness meets that watershed moment and finally pushes us over. And like you were saying, Victoria, everybody wakes up. That tsunami. And I'm like, in the past, it's always kind of been violent and like real shocking events, and it was horrible. And like, I'm kind of hoping that like my hope is here that we're moving in a place that maybe this tsunami and this event doesn't need to be horrible, but it can be like the aversion of something horrible that wakes everybody up, that we can move away from just the abject murder and we've been ruled over for the past 2,000 years by people who profit off of the murder and bloodshed of the innocents and the taking of other people.
And a lot longer than that.
Yeah, right.
How are we going to run the planet when they get rid of taxes, property taxes, income taxes, capital gains taxes, and we're going to only use tariffs? Can you tell us how that works?
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
You guys know Star Trek?
By the way, on Twitter, they just announced that there's a story going around that Trump is going to announce as one of the things tomorrow in the speech, no tax on Social Security. So I guess we're going to start to move in. That's not earth shattering. You know, I'm looking for something big, but if he puts that out tomorrow and says, I'm really going to propose this, I mean, that's a big step forward. Like, why should it'll bring us to the next question, which is, well, why should anybody pay taxes on what they earn? So
was that in the spending bill?
Anybody ever had to pay taxes on Social Security to begin with? That is just stupid.
Yeah, the Democrats pushed that through in the 1990s, I believe, with Bill Clinton. It was not taxed before that. You used to be able to deduct your credit card interest off of your taxes. They took that away. Everything like that has been a Democrat idea, and I've never really seen Republican presidential candidates ever really exploit that, because there shouldn't be any tax on your Social Security, and it should be hell of a lot more than it is. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you own any dinars by any chance, Jess, or Zimbabwe notes, or Zimbabwe notes, or bolivares, paper currency that's going to reevaluate supposedly?
Can't say I do.
You don't? Okay, just curious.
I got random coins from all over the world, but nothing considerable.
I know you own XRP.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Quant, Ethereum, Solana, some XLM. All kinds of different stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And how long you been into the digital assets for?
5-6 years, probably.
Oh, good for you. So you got in some good price points.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you bought a lot.
I didn't buy any. I got paid in it when I was working for the crypto mine. And the dude that guy that I fabbed a bunch of stuff for the crypto mine, and he was like, I'm going to pay you in crypto. I was like, all right. And then I just took it and I sat on it instead of cashing it in. And I moved it around into some other coins. And like every now and again, he was like, hey, is it cool if I pay you in crypto? I was like, yeah, dude, I'll take some more crypto. Somebody paid me in crypto for one of those excavator bucket fireplaces that I build that are, yeah. So, I mean, like, and I tell people, like, I'll take cash or crypto. I ain't interested in much else.
Wow. Interesting. That's interesting. Cool. I knew that you did that crypto thing mining with your friend, but I never knew that he paid you in crypto. So we learned something.
Yeah, that's how I got it. Yeah, I've never bought any coins. Yeah, people pay me in it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that.
Because you understand that $2 worth of XRP is worth $2, and not like $2 US dollars that are worth 8 cents.
Well, I understand how a market works, and when somebody pays me a bill of $1,100 in Ethereum, and then I don't touch it, and I'm looking at the graphs, and I'm like, oh, sweet, dude, great time to be paid, you know? Like when he would ask me if Litecoin was way up, I'm like, no, I don't want to be paid in crypto. But if the fucking market was down, I was like, yeah, pay me in crypto, because I know my $2,000 paycheck in another freaking month is going to be a $2,500 paycheck. Yeah. So, you know,
You're probably one of the smartest farm boys I've ever met.
Yeah, I've been called a lot of names over the course of my life. I have never in my life been called stupid. Yeah. Yeah,
no, you don't look. I don't think the word stupid should be in the same sentence when we're describing Jess. That's for sure.
No, I don't. I left the farm when I was 18. I went all over. I went to I got into the Chicago Art Institute. I went to school there for a little bit until I found them all to be so pretentious and fucking worthless that I was like, you guys are all hacks. And I fucking left like 2 months in because there wasn't 2 ounces of talent anywhere in that entire fucking building.
Wow.
You know, I've always wanted to be an artist. I knew that's where my life was taking me. Like, I like to create things. That's what brings me pleasure. Like, I need to create things every day. Like, if I don't create something, I'm not happy.
Right. So we know that you're invested in some of the right stuff, XRP, XLM, XDC, whatever, right? We know that you're a farmer. How did you become a farmer? Were you like born into a family of farmers? How did that come about?
Yeah, my family's been here on this farm for 149 years.
Oh, wow.
My ancestors came here in 1876. They built a sod house. They're 2 years later, they built a house out of quartzite. That's my art studio right now where I do all my ceramic work. And, you know, each progressive generation has built something more. Nobody's ever had any money. Yeah. And so I was the first one to go to college. Yeah, and I got an art degree.
You know, I had a friend of mine, I'll make you laugh. Jerry Kruger, unfortunately, he passed away about a few weeks ago. Cancer, broken hip, all kinds of, he was a mess. But anyway, long story short, Jerry is the only guy I know he was a very good friend of mine for many, many years. Jerry's the only guy I know that went to college to become a comedian and a magician. I shit you not. Okay. And right? I said, that's probably a good thing to go to college for these days, comedian and magician.
Yeah. And I had a lot of other interests beyond that. But I mean, dude, when I first started, I was going to be a tattoo artist. My goal when I was like 19, I was like, I'm going to be the first tattoo artist in America with an actual art degree. And then I got halfway through my degree. And after being a tattoo artist is kind of fun, but it's fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You don't want that job.
It's highly competitive now. There's like more tattoo shops around here. There's like tattoo shops, like pizza shops. They're like every other corner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's a miserable community. Like they all hate each other and they're all miserable people and they're all just narcissists. It's disgusting. It's really bad. It's really bad. I like to sit on the outside of it and just kind of laugh. I mean, I'm still, I'm fairly covered, but it's all with my own work. And I've kind of known that even since when I started. I was just like, it helps me show the scars that don't show, I guess, in my world. I did not have an enjoyable fucking childhood. I didn't. Yeah.
I'm glad that you stayed longer, and I'm thankful that you stayed longer. And so we were talking about maybe staying 20 years. I know you're a busy guy, but let's talk a little bit about, if you don't mind staying a little longer, your 3D printing 4 parts. I just watched the video of you going to the swap meet, which is basically a flea market for used parts on antique cars, right? How did that come about?
There was parts I didn't have and nobody was making them. And so me and my buddy started making them. And then I just put them on the internet and I was like, does anybody else want these parts? And it just exploded from there. And then more people would say, hey, can you make this? And if we could, we do. And then we sell those. And now we have over 150 parts and we're making new ones every day. And our goal is just to make anything better than it was before. Yeah.
Nice.
And it works.
Oh, nice. And so the word of mouth also, because you got the people that are Ford enthusiasts that get parts that are probably very difficult to find or don't exist.
They don't exist. Yeah, we ran from the business model of be the only game in town. And we are the only game in town for like 120 parts for classic vehicles that everybody is building. So if you want a glove box for your old Ford that was built before 1979, we're the only guys that can get you that. Yeah.
Right.
So it's pretty simple.
Who's the techie in the family? You got to have a techie. It's probably got to be your wife.
Yeah. My wife does more of the techie. The other half of 3D printed Ford parts is my buddy, Tim Wakefield. He's an engineer for the government.
Okay.
So he runs all that technical shit. Like I have a print shop here at my house now. He has one at his house, but he's like linked it all together because like I'm fucking technology retarded. Like I have a difficult time. I had a difficult time getting this thing brought up. Yeah.
So we have something in common. You have a wife that's technically, cool, and so do I. My wife is very, very technically inclined, if you will. We got a question from Mr. Barra. They want to know just a little bit about the RV and what's happening in that front, the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. I know that I follow also, not religiously, but pretty close, Ninja, the economic ninja on YouTube, and he said that there are some things cooking, but he's one that doesn't really give dates, which is okay.
Right. Well, I mean, what I'm hearing is it's tomorrow, right? That's what I hear, that it's Tuesday that this revaluation is going to occur. Now, I've heard this many times before, but what's interesting about this is that we know for the last couple of days, Iraq does what they call the currency auction, right? Which is where they sell the dinar and they take the proceeds and they get them in dollars. So they sell their currency and get dollars back out of it, which they can then spend because it's a real currency, right? As opposed to Iraq being worth, thousands of a penny, right? They haven't done that the last 2 days. And we were always told before they revalued, they would stop the currency auctions. They have, as of the last 2 days, stopped them. I also understand there's an emergency meeting of a bunch of Arab countries, including Iraq, going on today, tomorrow in Cairo, Egypt. So, and that is all to be done ahead of Donald Trump's speech. And part of what I hear is that, there is, because Trump is considered a loose cannon, that the Arab world is a little bit afraid of what he might say tomorrow, what he might announce. And they're thinking very seriously about pulling the trigger on this thing ahead of time. The problem is, I don't know who's got their finger on the button. I don't know. I mean, I heard Trump signed off on this on Friday, that the whole, they were going to use a Ukrainian peace agreement as the cover story. Trump was going to sign off of it and then go to Mar-a-Lago this last weekend. Instead, we had the whole Zelensky blow up, which is just a good cover. And I've heard he signed off on it on Friday, got on the plane to Mar-a-Lago, and it's all now percolating through the system. I know people on the bond side, which the bond and the gold acquisitions are going to fund the currency reset in the United States. That I know people that have been paid and they have appointments. I know of people that have been paid. I do not know them, but I know a guy who does know them, and they have been paid. They do have liquid money for their historic bonds, and they have appointments scheduled for tomorrow and Wednesday to exchange their currency. So, that's actually happening.
But is it possible that part of the announcement tomorrow could be that, hey, the paper currency of the world are going to be revalued?
It's
and we're
possible.
going to be on a monetary level playing field?
It's possible. It's possible we could have a gold standard announcement. I mean, all he has to do to rescind Nixon's action, taking us off the gold standard, is rescind his executive orders. Just say, look, we're not doing that. We're back on the gold standard. Oh, and by the way, we're going to link the price of gold in our treasury that's sitting in Fort Knox, whatever it is. We're linking that to the current market price. So all of a sudden, the value of the gold in Fort Knox goes from $44 an ounce to $3,000 an ounce. And now guess what? What national debt? It's paid. So I hear all these things. There is a lot of intensity, but again, I don't want to depend on Donald Trump saying something tomorrow night. 90% of the time we get all excited, we get all stimulated, we get all tingly, and then he comes up and just gives a policy speech. So I'm not.
I don't get excited.
Everything is ready.
Yeah, I made a point not to get excited. I always make it a point to stay in positive cash flow, and I count on my staying alive business, my healing center. On me and Amber. That's the most important currency that I can bet on, because that currency relies on me. You know what I mean?
I want to acknowledge Victoria saying March the 10th last week when we asked about it. And I also had another psychic friend who gave me a reading, and right around March the 10th is when she saw me getting the first payment out of this currency exchange. Now, Victoria, the only thing I have a question about is that doesn't necessarily mean we don't exchange until next week. It might mean we do exchanges this week, and then there's a period of time, a delay before that money is released to your account. So you could be seeing both things. Sorry, Victoria's over here on my screen, and I'm trying to look at the camera at the same time. But So I'm hopeful and I'm optimistic, and I'm going to be doing a live chat with Wolverine in about 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours, and I'll see what Wolvie has to say. And he, so I have about 5 different people that I talk to that I know about this, and they're all super excited, and they're all hearing on the bond side, on the gold side, on the currency side that this is the week, and that might simply mean this is the week that we have an announcement, or this is the week that we get the go ahead, through the back channels, through a private email or a private phone text message. Okay, go to such and such a place and trade in your currency, and you get paid next week. We don't know, but we're I think it's probably the closest I've ever felt to it actually happening since June 30th, 2011, which is when it was supposed to happen. Then it was only supposed to be the dinar then.
You're going
to finance the thing.
You're just going to wake up one day, you're going to be like either $5 million or $20 million richer, and it happens like a thief in the night. You're not going to even know when it's going to happen.
Better be a little more than that, buddy. But anyway, it's okay. I'll take 5 million. Just by the way, God, I'll take 5 million. So, I'm hearing incredible things, but again, we don't know what Donald Trump is going to do, and we don't know who has their finger on the button. If it's Iraq, we're still waiting for them. If it's Trump, we're still waiting for them. TNT Tony, who, take him with a grain of salt, said it's IMF. Yeah, it's now ready to go. And he said they're so afraid of what Trump's going to do that they want to pull the trigger right now, like today. So I don't know. I just know it's kind of red hot right now. And I'm hoping that we do get something tomorrow. And keep in mind, Trump, all he has to do tomorrow to send everything into a chaos is say we're going back to the gold standard. And what do you think is going to happen then to the stock market? And don't forget, Mel, there also is this crypto thing happening, and all he has to do is say, "Oh, by the way, we've now settled the lawsuit against XRP against Ripple."
I'm glad you went there. I'm glad you went there.
Right?
He's calling this a crypto summit, and the crypto summit happens to be a day before the quantum summit, which has to do everything practically with XRP. And right? Is that like a coincidence, or do you think they know that someone is running a quantum summit in Cape Canaveral?
I don't know about that. I haven't heard anything along those lines. But look, if he announces something on Tuesday about how we're going to transition our monetary system, then Friday would be a perfect time to have a crypto summit and discuss how cryptocurrencies are going to be involved in the new monetary system and which ones.
Yeah, so, President Trump just announced, supposedly, we got on the chat here from Carol, $100 billion new investment by TSMC. This is U.S. chips manufacturing in the United States of America.
Yep. So that's all the Taiwan dumb chip makers. They're going to start making chips here in the U.S. and we need to have that industrial capacity so we're not dependent on anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Does that mean the price of cars goes down because there's supposedly some chips that we can only get from over there, which is what happened to the price explosion of cars in the last 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, the thing is to remember too is that people are. I heard TNT Tony crying about tariffs. Oh, the price of everything's going to go up. No, it's not. The price of the Chinese shit is going to go up. Guess what? That means you can make it in America cheaper now. So you'll just buy American, and your money will be going from Americans to Americans instead of to China. So this idea that you're going to pay for it, no, you're not. You might pay for it for a month or a couple months before some business comes along and starts making chips or Star Trek commemorative dishes or whatever it is they're making that you want to buy from China. Well, let's make them here. And guess what? Your money will go to Americans, and America will prosper. So,
Mike, did this start yesterday? Like as you were talking about this, I just opened up Coinbase here and was looking at the graphs and whatnot, and I see everything just spiked like a son of a bitch yesterday.
I suspect that this is people in the know, big financial investors who hear that the button's been pushed, or it's about to be pushed, or has been pushed and will come through. That's what I think you're seeing in that. And I know that there was a meeting over the weekend in Kurdistan to discuss exactly how they're going to distribute the funds, the oil funds and the currency funds. That agreement is supposedly now finally in place after waiting for that for 10 or 15 years. They call it the hydrocarbon law, or the HCL. But there was a secret meeting this weekend. So they could have been, Jess, it could be that news leaked out that, they have an agreement, everybody signed off on it, and then that means that the financial reset's going to go, because the currency thing is only one aspect of the complete financial reset of the entire world, which we all know, right? And it's going to include gold and silver and cryptos and foreign currency. And so, I strongly feel, that this is coming in the next week. And I would be very surprised if I wake up on Wednesday and it's something big hasn't happened in one or the other aspect of this.
The Ides of March, historically, this is the timeline that everything, March is.
Well, it's beware the Ides of March, though. So we don't want, if I was Trump,
we don't know how much XRP you own, Jess. I hope it's a lot. I hope it's massive bags. I really do. And is there a possibility that this thing
there would be signs? I'll tell you that.
Listen, is there a possibility that this thing happens and you're no longer on the farm, or you're still going to be a farm boy because that you love what you do?
Dude, like I said, my connection to this land is immovable. I've held family members as they died here.
Oh,
wow. I don't leave.
Gotcha.
Under no circumstances.
Gotcha.
Yeah. This is where I will die. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm told you I'm gonna come visit you. I will come visit you. We'll hang out. I'll take you out to dinner, whatever. Amber and I will come to visit you at some point. We'll give you 3 weeks, 4 weeks heads up. We'll give you a walk.
Yeah, man.
Maybe when the revaluation happens and we see Jesse on X.com, whatever, Ron will have like a big gold chain with like bling bling.
One of the dudes that welded on the southern border wall, he sent me a little model replica of the border wall, and Trump's got one too. It's freaking cool as shit, right? And like when XRP hits, that wall will be going up around my farm. That's what the signs will be. Yeah.
Nice. Really cool. Really, really cool. Well, guys, I had fun. I don't know unless you guys have some more questions for Jess. Jess, he has a lot of talents. He's a farmer. He's a mechanic. He can build you a car. He can, build you a hot rod. He can restore a building that's historic back to its natural status. He's got an incredible talents in that respect as well, on top of being able to build machines that used to mine Bitcoins. Are you still mining Bitcoins, by the way?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have any miners.
No, you yourself, but your friend's still mining?
Oh yeah. He's just on the cusp of opening the second mine. He's got the infrastructure all in place. The miners are all stacked on racks. But the power companies, and the fuckery around it is unreal, dude. Like they know something, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, they've been harassing him, and even the banks were harassing him. Like at the end of Joe Biden's term, and it's weird, dude. I started getting harassed just from my connections to him.
Wow.
Like I got extorted by the power company, and I don't even mine anything. But I'm like building the infrastructure over there at the mine, like dealing with all the airflow issues and things like that. And somehow, because I'm tied to him, like I got extorted by the power company and had to pay like my power bill 3 months in advance. I've never even heard of such a thing, and it didn't happen to anybody else, just me and him.
So you're guilty by association, basically.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, does he know about XRP? I'm sure he has to know about XRP.
God,
How does it feel? How does he feel about XRP, the guy that's mining Bitcoin? I'm curious.
Oh, dude, he's all in. I think he cashed in most all of his Bitcoin and transferred it into XRP like back before this thing all jumped. And I mean, like, dude, he's doing backflips. But the hash rate on Bitcoin. I mean, he even leases out a bunch of his space to other miners, and the hash rate going up has caused a lot of problems because like they're not making any money mining right now. Like it's basically flatlined. It's super bizarre, right? Like it's not what you would expect. So he's got a bunch of people that are not paying their bills on like, dude, I mean, he's got some people's $200,000 worth of miners. You know, that's one of the smaller accounts in the mine, and they're not paying their bills because they're just hitting flatline, and some of them are losing money mining Bitcoin. That's just weird to me. You know, I know enough to be dangerous, and like he tells me about all this, but
whoever he is, I want to meet him because anybody who takes their Bitcoin and moves it over to XRP, that's a really smart guy in Melbourne.
Yeah, he's been in this since 2008, I think, was when he started mining.
Interesting.
Yeah, 2009, right after that shit.
Yeah,
the financial collapse was when he moved into this. Yeah, and I mean he knows his shit. Yeah.
Well, I just made a video. I just released a couple of hours ago specifically about this one big Bitcoin Nancy come out and said, listen, I made a lot of money in Bitcoin, but he goes, the writing is on the wall, and I just took all my Bitcoin and I bought XRP. He goes, the stage is set on a global level for XRP right now.
100%.
He gets it, and you get it too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't really have to understand it that much because like he's one of my closer friends. I talk to him multiple times a day, right? And so like I just listened to what I learned after a couple years of just paying attention to him. Like I can just listen to him. Like whatever he's got his fingers so deep into it. Like I don't need to be an expert. Like really, like I've been just trying to figure out like what the fuck do miners even do? You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of in I like to look at things from 30,000 feet, you know? The details often don't gather my attention that much, but like the view from 30,000 feet and like the larger movements of society and humanity in general, that shit fascinates me. And like we are in such a flux right now that like you can feel it, you know, things are changing, like and that somebody didn't go to all that work on the debt clock to star date that. You know what I'm talking about? That
the price is a distraction. The price is irrelevant. The price is meaningless because we know how the movie ends.
Yeah. You know, and that's the other thing. Like, I think everything that's going on, we're talking about what's Trump going to do? Like, what files are going to be released? When is this going to happen? Like, I don't think any of the show that's going on is really for any of us.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're almost at the end of the movie, but for the majority of people, the movie's just beginning.
Yeah.
You know, and so like even that Epstein's file, there was some new stuff in there. And like while I was initially disappointed, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like this isn't for me. This is for everybody else who hasn't been paying attention this whole time, that needs to be brought up to speed. That, like you were talking about, approaching that tsunami. Like we're all just going to kind of sit back and be like, hey, it's okay. Like we're here to help guide everybody else into that transition. Yeah, it's wild times, man. I mean, I love it. I'm excited, dude. I am, because I've hated this system. I've hated this dirty, corrupt system for my entire goddamn life. Like it just became, the lies just bothered me at such a young age. And I've been, I'm brash, but I'm angry about so many things about what has happened.
Guys, I gotta go. SpaceX is about to launch a Starship. I gotta cover that. I gotta get going. Nice to meet you, Jess. Virtual handshake. Great to see you. And I will see the three of you on Friday.
Yeah,
so I'll be there Friday afternoon. So,
all right, Mike.
Can't wait.
Jess, I got to tell you, to people in America, as I get the feedback out there, and people in America They want to know who you are. I'm getting calls from all over the world, basically say, "Hey, is Jess coming to the Quantum Summit?" I said, "Yeah, he's coming via virtual." You're the only guy that's coming via virtual. As I normally don't do virtual, but there's such a demand for Jess, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm telling you fact. Okay. There's such a demand because you just deliver the message in such a way that, like I said in previous videos, the way that they want to do, they want to be you. They are absolutely 100% living vicariously through you, and you're delivering the message in such a way with a total Americana. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit. This is the way it is. Fuck you if you don't like it, and they love it. They can't get enough of it.
It's why we love Trump, dude. We're sick of the lies. Everybody's just so sick of the lies. We just want to be told the truth.
Yeah.
Just tell us to it. And I love it when it hurts. Like I'm weird like that.
Yeah.
Like the more painful the truth, the more I want to know it.
I saw a t-shirt one day that says I could fix stupidity, but it's going to hurt.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And believe me, well, I like to say we can't fix stupidity, not even with duct tape. That's my original one. But anyway, I had fun. Thank you for coming again and meeting our team.
Yeah.
We got plans for the future as this, we lift this, freedom of speech. At some point down the road, hopefully we're able to grow as well. We would love to expose you as much as possible. And it's not about, you being big. You're much bigger than Mel Carmine. You came out of nowhere. I mean, 100,000 people on X. Bro, I've had my X account, even though I haven't worked on it for like months and months. It was just there, but I never did anything with it. Now, because you've encouraged me, I'm like really pushing the envelope. He's like, at least here we got freedom of speech, right? So I went from 6,000 to like almost 12,000. Okay, big whoopee do. You do that in a day, by the way. Your numbers just like literally jumping. But it's not about who's got the biggest penis here. And sorry, ladies, but it is about us winning this fucking war.
Yes.
Right? I don't give a shit about. I want Jesse to be big. You know why? Because if Jesse's big, I say, yeah, go Jess, go kill him. You know what I mean? I'll put you out there in the front lines. You're not going to die because these are virtual bullets, by the way. All right.
No, it's an information war. We are in an information war. We're in a civil war. We are in a global war of information. Like that didn't even, how long Alex Jones has been saying that?
Yes.
And it didn't really occur true to me until 2020 when I realized how accurate that is. And that I don't know that I think bullet wars are going to kind of fall by the wayside truly it's public opinion holds so much sway.
Yeah.
And I feel it's so important to reach as many people as possible with Trump's message of freedom and individual liberty, and just pick yourself up by your own damn bootstraps. Just try.
Exactly.
So many people just don't try. And often the only thing that prevents you from succeeding is the simple lack of trying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But they beat it into us. They've beat us down so hard from every institution. And everyone is so cynical and you can't do this and you can't do that. But I've been mentally broken for so many decades that every time I heard somebody say, you can't do that, I was like, oh, fucking watch me. I'll fucking do that twice over. Exactly.
Well, I had a lot of fun having you back. I know my team has really is delighted in meeting you, and I know we'll have you back again. And we want people with talent to get noticed. You know what I mean? This is not a contest. This is about winning a global war on your mind. This is about winning a global war on them trying to poison us. This is about winning a global war on everything. And it's got nothing to do with who's bigger. You know what it is? It's about teamwork. And I hate to say it, and I'm sure these ladies will probably agree with me 100,000%, and I'm sure you will too. This podcasting business, there's a lot of things I don't like about it. There really is. And it's all about me. It's mine. This is my world. I'm going to allow you to live in my world. Bullshit. It's not about that. It's not about that at all. We got podcasters out there. You're going to learn. You're going to learn a lot of the podcasters. I'm not saying everybody, but there's a few out there that are not exactly. They talk out of both sides of their mouth, but what they talk about and what they do. Watch what they do. Don't watch what they say.
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's how we all get through this. It's by collecting up as many people as we can.
One thing you'll learn about Mel Carmine for sure. If I tell you something, that's the way it is. I cut like a knife. I tell it the way it is. I'm really a lot like you. Maybe a few F-bombs, but maybe not as many, but I get the point across. You know what I mean?
It's not and there again, it's not on purpose. Like
and it's good.
It's
very
just
much needed.
I'm just kind of a damaged person, honestly. Like I really am. And like that's why I like am self-secluded out on the farm. Like my wife tells me, like, dude, I haven't talked about this at all, but I've got I'm gonna run for a seat on the township board here tomorrow. The election's tomorrow.
Interesting.
And it's people either love me to death or they fucking hate me.
Brother, I'm glad
there is no middle ground.
Yeah. Brother, I'm glad that you told us that because we'll help you push it.
Oh, dude, it's an in-person election vote where we go to this small little room and like if you're in the fucking township, you raise your hand like for this vote. Like it's I live in South Dakota, dude.
How many people live in your town?
The town I live next to, there's 10,000 people.
How many people live in your town?
My township it's basically like a rural subsection of the county, right?
Right.
And maybe 100, probably more like 80. Yeah. And so like, dude, this is an election that's going to be won by like 12 votes, dude. Like, so like, don't act like it's some huge thing. And like, and my only motivation is to put some skin in the game. I've got problems with this little town that we're next to that's just trying to annex all kinds of ground for development. And I want to be left the fuck alone. And like, I mean, it's one of the things that drug me out into doing social media in the first place was the initial fight with this town over annexing my farm. And I just wanted to be left alone. Like I'm much happier if I just don't talk to anybody and just like, I just want to build shit, but I find purpose in this, in talking with you guys and talking to more people. I think it's important to spread awareness and like you said, raise that vibrational level. Like I'm in on that. Like I hate the church, but I love the Bible, and as my life has moved on, I've understood kind of like some of the things that I had to go through were on purpose to put me where I am, as horrible as that was. But then like, even the amount of places I've been like, it's just, I seem to always be put where somebody's going to die. And it's tortured me for a long time. Like my best friend just died a couple of years ago. But when I was able to help his kids and his wife, like kind of deal with a lot of that grief, it gave me a big purpose of understanding like my own ability to deal with that grief and then help others is so incredibly important that with that pain, you deal with things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hear you, bro. We love you. America.
Thank you.
And we're going to get this world back. We're going to get America back. America is back. Nobody's going to be able to stop it. You fucking liberals, get the fuck out of our way or we're going to run over you. Period. End the story.
Amen.
We're going to end this stream right now. Guys, get this out everywhere. Jesse's a superstar. He's an American hero. Thank you.
Just a guy.